fashion. Hello, welcome to Beefheart cast number
Six.
six. Tonight we are looking at
666. Shit,
the number of the Shiny Beast. We are looking at Shiny Beast and Bat Chain Puller, which we'll do a little Wikipedia run through in a minute, but maybe Dan can tell us the story. But yeah,
No.
Alistair, how you doing? And what do you reckon to these two records?
Yeah, I quite like them. Shiny Beast, yeah, I bought that probably mid 1990s. Still got it. But I did get the Bat Chain Puller CD from a Magic Band gig.
All right, you can. Sorry, Al. Hey,
which was signed and I can't find. And it was the one that John French wouldn't go fuck off Alistair, which is my usual request for a signature on anything that I from an artist. But yeah, really like them both. And I'm not used to doing podcasts at this time, Brendan.
You're off your game, aren't you?
Crazy shit.
You're off your game, aren't you? DB stands for Don's Bestie. What do you reckon to these two? You love them?
I've requested an opening to raid, if that's okay with you, Kent Brockman.
Right.
The year 1978, the place Wigan. The person, me, a true blue Captain Beefheart fan, fresh off 2 years of intensive Captain's Holiday go-away therapy. I hear this album, and immediately I invent the internet in order to tell people of today and the future about Shiny Beast, Bat Chain Puller. The reason, because it is ace, and it's his best batch yet. No, it is not the artistic statement of Trout. No, it is not the spirit of the age, like Spafer's Milk. No, it's not the pop masterpiece of Unconditionally Guaranteed. It is just several of the best individual pieces of music he has recorded, and some other stuff too.
Vito, I think it's a consolidation at best. Have you got Run Don MC on your t-shirt?
That's what it looks like.
It's Don Cabot. It's the other Don. It's the other.
Caballero.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Randy loves him. You mentioned it before that sooner or later we're doing we're off on a Chicago run.
Do they count as Pittsburghians?
I think they moved to Chicago probably, surely.
They do run a Chicago label.
Yeah, I mean, and I think when they started, they were ripping off all those ones. So yeah, it's totally fine.
It's more or less. In fact, I think I saw one. I've got a feeling that I ran into them the day when I managed to get myself to Chicago. The day when I went to the Empty Bottle and wouldn't talk to Tim Kinsella, and I'm pretty sure that the whole of Don Cab was there. But who knows? It was an answer. Nice.
Brendan, for DB.
Yeah.
Dan, that's sport.
That's both brilliant. So we you won't be too shocked to that a few didn't get points, but you might be shocked at what they were and why. So only 2 songs didn't get any points at all, and a couple got 1 point. So would you like to wager a guess?
I reckon it'll be something off off Shiny Beast, not the proper album. So I'm going to say, looking at my notes, 81 Poop Hatch, and
you don't know me very well if you think 81 Poop Hatch didn't get any points.
And Flavor Bud.
Flavor Buds didn't. I gave it 1 originally, but in the end it didn't make any. Al, you want to throw any?
For me, it's the really cheesy sounding ones that don't get through, and sometimes it's like the ones where it sounds like it's really well thought out, technical, but it's not like it's not really main.
No. Any names?
Harry Irene.
Yeah.
Ice Rose.
Ice Rose is way up there. It was one of my top. It's like my second or third. No, it was the Carrot one because and I think the Totem one only got 1 point, and because I think people are not giving points because they're coming up in later albums. So yeah, without getting
I'm looking forward to the Apes-Ma observations.
Apes-Ma, yeah, I love it. This is the one we cited in the Wiggins musical history play. We more or less quoted the whole of Apes-Ma because it's so poignant. But
is it, Brendan? Is it?
But it is, in my eyes, it definitely is. And so essentially Don Yeah, as I said, he's going through some probably not actual therapy, but actually probably is going through some proper therapy to try and get over the travesty, in my eyes, not a travesty, in his eyes, of Blue Jeans. So the 74, right? So he goes on tour with he gets back, makes friends with Zappa, and goes on tour and does the Bongo Fury, of which. Some of the studio stuff, some of the live stuff will appear in our Odds and Sods episode. The ones that Don is actually very prevalent on with his vocals and stuff, even if they were written by Zappa, they will pop up on that show. So very cool stuff. But he formed a new magic band to record a new album with Frank. Better, even better than Trout Mask is what they said, and that became what was eventually released in 2012 as Bat Chain Puller. So we got Don Drumbo was back for that one. We got Danny Feelers Rebo Wally on guitar, Jeff Morris Tepper on guitar, who stayed around for a while, and John Thomas, if you will, on some keyboards. It all went to shit very, very quickly because Herb Cohen is a name that pops up a lot in that history of rock and roll in 500 Songs podcast that I listen to. He's all over the place, is Cohen. But anyway, Discreet Records, which is Cohen and Zappa. Cohen basically used Zappa's money to pay for the record for Shiny Beast, which did not know damn well. And so Zappa had a proper strop, and he basically hid the master tapes, which is the second time this has now happened to B.E.F.O.U.T in like 6 years or something like that. So he goes ahead, he re-records only 4 songs actually, and a whole other odds and sods and some new stuff, which became Shiny Beast, Bat Chain Puller. So they are different enough to warrant being classed. For me, they're the same album, and Bat Chain Puller is essentially was mined for things because the songs that weren't re-recorded were more or less used on Dock at the Radar Station and Ice Cream for Crows. So when it did come out, I don't think it was new news to anybody. But anything to add on that stuff?
We should be thankful that he got this chance to do it again, because I voted for the songs on this not because they come back later, just because I think they're that much better and more fully realised.
I agree with Dan. I'm glad he got this chance to sort of actually go out there and do something interesting again. And it's not like some of it's commercial, some of it's definitely not. And that's what I like about B.E.F.O.U.T. It's like he's regaining his evil.
This is definitely Don is back for sure, even though I kind of dismissed it a bit as it being a consolidation. That doesn't mean the songs that are not great and that I don't love a whole bunch of them. And there is some newer stuff on, particularly when we get to stuff like the Floppy Boot, which he clearly there's new stuff going on there that hadn't happened anywhere else. So I think there's a consolidation, there's a bit of a push forward. By the time they did record Shiny Beast, Drumbo had once again gone. Jeff Tepper stayed. Art Tripp was back. So we got marimba, which definitely makes a difference to that sound. And Bruce Fowler on trombone, but Eric Drew Feldman, which is the other big name for this second half of his career. So Tepper and Feldman, basically, and Gary Lucas comes on, doesn't he, a little later?
It's interesting that those 3 names and their connection to like 90s indie rock staples, because like Feldman plays with Pixies, Gary Lucas obviously with Buckley, and Tepper's like PJ Harvey and a bunch of other people, right? So this is like weird how that they don't seem to have much of a profile in the 80s, but then like are really present in the 90s.
Yeah,
I mean, that's an interesting one to me because I never knew anything about any of that kind of shit. So
well, Eric Drew Feldman went around being the residents and all kinds of shit. He's like, his name is like absolutely all over the place, and and it's great stuff. And that is a new band that is as creative as the first kind of round. And so it was fortuitous in some ways that the kind of band that was decent that played Bat Chain Puller was actually a third magic band was put together, which is arguably the best of the bunch. It's not the wildest, I guess. It's not necessarily the most creative, but it's really it feels like they could just turn his stuff into these songs. And of course, like we said, the the way to do it seems to already have been there, and I do wonder whether they were like, oh, we can just work with that method straight off. Don plays a piano tune, but we know how this works. Trainmaster Replica was 10 years ago. We love it. We know how to do this now.
Yeah. They are nailing it, but it sounds like a more kind of like polished version of Trackmaster when they go there. And I think that like the drumming, it's like there's some real fucking complex stuff going on there. Yeah. It's going like around the houses, but it's keeping a beat that's just like. And I kind of mentioned that the evil thing. I think that there's a real evil sound to some of this stuff in the same way that I said that some Perubu stuff sounds evil.
Yeah.
But it's an evil that I like.
It's a nice evil, isn't it?
Yeah.
Brown.
Gently benevolent.
Yeah.
There's some evil, but I think there's also some sad-faced clown-style Pagliacci comedy here as well.
Well, we'll get to that, won't we?
Yeah.
So, Max, it's nice to see you. Beautiful to have you on Beefheart board.
Yeah, thanks. Sorry I'm late.
Yeah, no worries.
Never apologise.
Yeah.
Nice to see you again, Max.
No surrender. We just basically we was just in the preamble just chatting about what the albums meant to us or our general feel on how it compared to earlier stuff. It was interesting because the first few we dashed through this bit, but I think we've got to the point now where this is such an obvious dip back into everything he's done that it's worth having a bit of a chat. But yeah, what's your take on these two, Mike?
Kind of similar to what you sort of just saying. I think it's like I'm one of the few people who likes blue jeans and moonbeams, but like either way, this is like a massive return to form for the Captain. For a lot of people who thought he'd just completely like lost it, and it's really accessible. It's like it's the sort of album that you could like put on for friends and stuff. It like without it being like hey, look, it's my chance to sort of win you over to Captain Beefheart or whatever. And it's just like a really lovely album, and it's weird. It's got enough weirdness. It's overall not weird, but there's enough weirdness in there to make it interesting.
Yeah. So, and how do you think that we were just basically saying that it actually worked out better that he had to have a second go at it, which wasn't the. It's hard to say whether that was the case for Strictly Personal, because this same thing happened, right? And whether or not that was the case, but yeah, do you think that the back chain puller stuff?
I think I'm not even sure if I'd heard that before. I might have just listened to it for the first time today. Most of it to me just sounded kind of the same. It's like the back chain puller itself, title track, is the most different version, but a lot of the other stuff just sounds like it's actually the same. It just sounds like it's a differently mixed version of like the same recordings.
Harry, Irene, and a few others. I think Ode to Alex. For me, there's quite a difference in those two.
Yeah,
one of them is more like the Who than the others. Shall we back on? So well, you have to give me the full title, but the one about carrots and the one about totems.
A carrot is as close to as a rabbit gets to a diamond.
That's right, yeah. And flavor buds. Carrot is close to the rabbit gets to a diamond, and flavor buds both got 0. Now carrot probably because it pops up later. Flavor buds is a bit of a sketch. The totem. Go on, Dan. What's that one?
I've not got it in front of me. It's something human totem pole. I just got the human totem pole.
110th day of the human.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, the 110th day of the human totem pole. So let's have a listen to those and see what we think. But get ready for some. I'm not sure the sound again.
We can hear it.
Oh, you can.
Yeah.
eyes and ears, and waving hands for balance. There was no way to get a copter in close, so everybody was starving together. The man at the top had long ago given up, but didn't have nerve enough to climb down. At night the pole would talk to itself, and the chatter wasn't too good. Obviously the pole didn't like itself.
That's a beautiful one. It's a little sad he didn't get any love from the gang, but yeah, Max, what do you think of those three? The carrot, the flavor, and the totem.
Well, totem is on Ice Cream for Crow.
Yeah.
So I kind of discounted it instantly for that because it's like that's a different podcast.
Yeah.
And like those others, was it Flavor Bud Living and Carrot?
The carrot is on Dock at the Radar Station, I think.
Yeah, I knew it was on a different album. So it's kind of like I just didn't even consider any of those because they just don't deserve to be kind of being talked about in the Shiny Beast context where if they're on a different Captain Beefheart album for me. Yeah. It doesn't matter too much what originally had happened 2 years previously when they'd first recorded it or whatever. Well, I mean, it matters, but like
it might even be the exact same recording from the shot. It's very similar anyway.
It is totally the same. You can just tell there's loads of this stuff. If someone's playing drums, someone's playing guitar, there's just certain tiny little details that like would never happen. Like if somebody was re-recording it, you know. You can just totally tell it's the same recording.
Yeah, well, we won't spend too long on these three, and of course, two of them we'll come back to. But yeah, DB, what do you reckon to these three?
Flavor Bud and Carrot are just nice little pieces, brief snippets. I probably did disregard them a bit because of their rebounding. Also, all three really great song titles. I think his title game is quite strong around this point. Human Totem Pole, I did write some notes. I wrote scrankily dankily, almost a Buster Keaton scene of self-usurping in a song. Tom Waits just watching. I think it's got like, I really like that kind of almost like failure to get going vibe that the song has.
Yeah. We will talk about it more, and I think it'll get some love, obviously, when it pops back up. So I won't go too much into it, but it's a great story. I really liked Flavor Buds though, but it's clearly an undeveloped idea, and it was suggested that maybe it was the drum roll composition, and he is credited with some guitar. So I'm not even sure how it came about, but he's got a little bit of the peon kind of feel, which I think was Harper Road though, wasn't it? So
Am I right in thinking that Drumbo was acted like a kind of musical director, and he would be a sort of go-between between like Don and the musicians in a way?
In the Bad Chain Puller, he came back in that role, which I think he'd done on Trout Mask, and then he'd gone and Harkle Road had taken over for the few albums, and then he kind of floundered. He didn't have one for Blue Jeans, which is why I think it doesn't sound like Beefheart as much as there might be some gems on there. But but then he'd gone by the time Shiny Beast came around, but a lot of these songs had been formed or they were in the air anyway, so it's hard to know really. Like
I think it sounds like he's almost like an arranger for Don's craziness.
Yeah, I know that some of you can tell the difference between, say, Blue Jeans, where they seem like studio rockers, and these
100%.
The exact same twists and turns that you hear on Decals and Trout Mask, but just slightly different flavor to them.
Blue Jeans is kind of like, I mean, I love a lot of Blue Jeans and Mean Memes, but it's like when Ween did their country album and they basically just go to Nashville and give some Nashville guys some cash. To play the instruments and do the kind of country stuff, and that's what it sounds like.
It's great album.
I would love to go to Nashville with a bag full of cash and record an album. I think that's a cool thing to do.
I think Bonnie Prince Billy did it, didn't he? He recorded like his own version of his greatest hits with Nashville.
And it absolutely stinks.
It's way worse than the originals, right? Al, what's your take on these three bottom feeders?
Yeah, carrots. I did listen to Doc at the radar station tonight, which is just going to confuse me further.
Yeah.
Not that I need any help with that. But yeah, kind of meandering a bit. Well, yeah, I kind of like switch off after a little bit. There's a really good hook in there, but there's loads of bits where it's kind of like just it is meandering, and then you get back to the hook again. And you're like, oh yeah, I like this bit. Yeah. Flavour Bud Living. Scribbled in. I prefer Flavour Flav. Not very exciting. This is a shit that Paul Bibby would like. Not to slag Paul Bibby off, because he's a lovely guy. He's well, I don't know, kind of Wigan legend as a guitar player.
Oh, yeah.
He's like Wigan's Tom Verlaine, isn't he?
In many ways. In many ways.
Yeah. But it's just
I also loved it too, and so that I think that gives him even more kudos in my book.
Yeah, but he's a bit too technical, and that's what kind of like kills stuff. Bladder of Life, Bad of Volunteers, very good.
Very good. All right, enough about Bibby and his ilk, his legendary stuff. Let's move on to Odd Jobs, which got 1 point. Brickbats, we got 3, and 81 Poop Patch, we got 5 points, all from me. It's time for some Poop Patch.
Brendan, Odd Jobs. I've not said anything about it.
Oh, go for it. Sorry, Al.
Time to remind me of Tinner Went or Horse Lords.
All right.
It's the hypnotic groove that goes on in there.
Yeah. Well, we're going to listen to it now, so we'll come back to that. Odd Jobs, Brickbats, and Poop Hatch. He's, like you said, Dan. He's on his game with his life.
Brickbats fire high, my fireplace upside down. I see them in the fire. They squeak and roast there. Wings leap across the floor, fold up the wall shadows. The window curtain ghost, fear rose my heart and dust my throat. Brickbats, brickbats.
Dance without its paint on. Odd Jobs is written on. Spiders whirl in those eyes. The sun made them look silver. Eyes are burnt and bleeding, and all that looks like a monkey on a silver bar. Big poop hatch with a cotton hatch. Hatch holes that the light shows in and the light shows out. And the little red fence. And the wire and the wood, and the barbs and the berries, the tires and the bottles and the car up on rims, and the heat swims on its fenders, and the dust collects and the rust of autumn surrenders into gold. Trumpet poop on the ground with jeweled pinlet. Cobwebs collect down plaster, run into a hole and find collected glass that drinks the reflection of midday after. Spreckled hula dance on my phone.
It's just a classic spoken word beef.
Yeah. I actually regret not putting that in my top 10 now, because I do actually really like that one bit. I think it's like the spoken word stuff, or the ones where he's just reading his poetry with the band playing some stuff in the background. I kind of like it, but in a way it's like in a different category. It's like Marky Smith's spoken word stuff or something. Just to bring this back to the subject of the full for a moment. It's like some of it's good, but it's sort of not the full. It's kind of something else. And even though those are on a Captain Beefheart album, in my mind, I sort of think of them as like a sort of a different thing in a way. That one in particular, that bit, is that the one that ends webcore?
I think so, yeah. And yeah. But
that always like made a really sort of weird impression on me, and I've actually used it as a password for loads of things, the word webcore, just because I liked it, But I'm not telling you my address or postcode or mother's
Pin
maiden
number,
name.
please. Yeah.
Max, does that like remind you of Ivor Cutler in anywhere?
Oh, yeah. That's really interesting. Yeah, it sort of does actually. Although I hadn't made that connection previously, but I think I see where you're coming from. Yeah.
I can see where Peel might have had the same kind of like attraction.
Yeah, I think is Ivor Cutler the Scottish Beefheart? That's interesting, isn't it?
There was something, and I don't know what it was on, and it really did remind me of Cutler, and I think it was on Blue Jeans, but I didn't point out. Maybe it's on it was on the last episode, and yeah, but no, I'm absolutely on board with Poop Hatch as being an ode to whatever his name is, Ivor. What about Brickbats and Odd Jobs at Max? Anything?
Odd Jobs actually, out of all of this stuff on the Backchain Puller album, that was by far the most interesting one. I think that possibly because it's the only one I think that was like 100% new to me. I actually quite like that, and I think I need a few more listens, and then I think that I will really, really like it. And then what I might end up doing, which is what I do with my record collection generally, like a digital, is I'll have a sort of a separate album that's like a bonus tracks for an album, and I stick like B-sides and stuff in that. And I have a feeling that I'll come back and collect some of the things off that Backchain Puller playlist and put them into my Shiny Beasts bonus tracks album.
Yeah, it feels like that for me, actually. Yeah, and I know Dan's saying the re-records are way better, and I agree with that. I think Brickbats was the one that stood out. It's I can see why
Brickbats is on Dock at the radar station, though, right?
Is that right? Oh,
Yeah.
right. Okay, I'd missed that. So well, that makes sense, and I need to have a listen to see whether the version's very different. Is it the same version as
I
far
think it's the same. Yeah,
Oh, right.
I think the version that's on Dock, it's the same recording, and I think it's possibly just been cleaned up a little bit during the production process, but it's the same recording, I think.
Okay, well, I won't talk about it too much here, but it was I like the fact that it was like the earlier Try Mask stuff in a way, but very meandering and loose at the same time.
Well, this is the great thing about Dock at the Radar Station, which might be my favorite Captain Beefheart album, where it's like Shiny Beast was a return to form, but still kind of like a bit sort of mainstreamish, and Dock at the Radar Station feels like a real return to form of weird, and the production on it was like so sparse and dry and felt very like of its time in terms of like a sort of post-punk thing where like bands like Magazine and stuff were doing a very sort of no production kind of production. When I don't mean like some of the early Fall stuff that didn't sound like it had been produced at all, like Grotesque or whatever.
Yeah,
I mean, it sounded nice and it sounded clean, but it was really, really dry.
Yeah,
there's like I'm talking about like Dock at the Radar Station here. It's like it's almost like we want to record everything really well, but we're having an absolute ban on effects, even reverb. You know what I mean? We're not allowing any reverb, and which is quite rare for like for production of an album.
It's like one of those things where Peter Gabriel had everybody bands hi-hats for an album.
it's the Albini method, where it's like you're going to record a band like it sounds in the room.
Yeah. Al, what do you reckon to these three? We're gonna be here all night with this moving at this speed, but it's right. We'll speed up. What do you reckon to Poop Hatch, Brickbats, and Odd Jobs?
Brickbats, I do like it. Nice acerbic clarinet, vocals, rhythm and bass. There's a lot going on in there. The nice juxtaposition between the energetic parts, which are fucking crazy, and then the explore the slower bits, which remind me a bit of John's Own. And you get into kind of like bits that remind me of some sludge metal bands like I Hate Gov. It could well have been influenced by it. It's like stuff that that I played in noisy bands, and a big fan of Beefheart. And I think doing Beefheart noisy always works well. But I can definitely see a connection there. Yeah, but I don't know what the hell I've written here, but if I ever saw geese falling out at a wildlife reserve, then this should be the soundtrack.
Nice. Poo Patch?
Oh yeah. Reminds me of the Smith solo stuff. So yeah, I'm agreeing with Max here. It'd be nice to be a crackles on it. That make it sound more nice, but it's just me and my vibe, like in the kind of like the vinyl sound. But yeah, it really does remind me of Smith solo stuff.
Where do you stand on these three?
I'll try and throw my hat over all three at once. I gave Odd Jobs a point, and I really like its springy, wiry guitar outro, like the kind of the sparseness. But what strikes me about
did it remind you of Vinnie Riley in anywhere with the guitar?
A little bit, yeah, I can see that definitely. A couple of other things as well, but I'd have to listen to it again to remind myself what they are. But what's interesting about Odd Jobs, Breakbats, Poop Patch, and another one that we've not quite got onto yet is it seems like there was a much stronger thread of beat poetry and that kind of like more abstract kind of thing. So it's almost when he rethought about the album, he jettisoned an entire kind of part of its concept and diffused it and dispersed it over the rest of his discography, which I'm going to say was possibly a wise move.
Yeah, and the speaking, I think I'd missed it. I love Beef's spoken words.
I liked all of the songs we've just mentioned, and the one that I hinted at. It's just a case of, I think it just needs to be dotted around rather than made the feature art event.
It's really interesting that what you were just saying, Dan, about like a decision to jettison it, because there's quite a lot of that on Ice Cream for Crow, and that it sort of sits in there because it's like that. It's like Ice Cream for Crow is saying to you, there's going to be a lot of that sort of thing on this album, and that decision, I wonder if it was like a conscious decision by him, or if there was somebody else saying like, no, this stuff's just, the beat poetry stuff's just a bit like weird, and not in a good way. Weird. Maybe just leave that off and we'll do the like proper songs or something.
Yeah,
I'd love to know the conversations that.
It was also...
It'd been nice to have B.E.E.F.O.U.T doing like something like Panzer. Just a solo poetry thing.
I don't know about the context of the time, but in 77, 78, I think maybe the spoken word would be less well received than it would have been in the mid 80s, when that sort of, it seems like that maybe due to stand-up comedy and alternative comedy made a comeback in the early 80s.
Well, Pam Hers did all right. She did a few well.
Very briefly, and not to kind of spoil next week, there is something self-consciously final about Ice Cream for Crow. So I bet he had a bit of a sense of, no, this is my last thing. We won't go too far into that though.
So we'll come to the next three. So there's a bit of a step up there to Apes-Ma, Harry Irene, and Seam Crook Sam. Is that what it's called?
Seam Crooked Sam, yeah.
Which I gave all of its points to. So Harry Irene, Max gave all of its points to. So we will very soon have to defend our decisions. But let's have a listen. Let's have a listen for it. All right. Don't look at the titles. Don't look at the answers. Let's start off with this shite. Sorry.
Shitty British adverts. Nowhere near as good as the Japanese ones, Brendan.
No, they're on the video people.
Back in Nestle.
The video people just have to. Nobody else does this, right? Everyone else edits. I think I'll probably have to edit this shit. It's too long.
Yeah, just carry on talking shit. It's fine. That's what we do for the rest of the show.
Indeed, right? Let's get into it.
Harry Irene were a couple that lived in the green. Harry Irene were a couple that ran a canteen. Ran a canteen. Ran a canteen. Two people, Harry and Irene, like you've never seen. The floor was made of oak, the dough was smoky gray. Their tuna sandwiches would turn the dark into day. They sold wine like turpentine to paint us. They took to social life like pop.
There once was an empire chase known as the Great Great Game.
Apes-Ma, Apes-Ma,
One of its
your cage is too dirty, Apes-Ma. Remember when you were young, Apes-Ma, and you used to break out of your cage? Well, you know that you're not strong enough to do that anymore now. And Apes-Ma, the little girl that named you years ago has died now. And you're older, Apes-Ma. Remember when she named you and it was in the paper, Apes-Ma? Apes-Ma, Apes-Ma, you're eating too much and going to the bathroom too much, Apes-Ma. And Apes-Ma, your cage isn't getting any bigger, Apes-Ma.
Or sawdust daily keep. And whiskey creeps down her naked front. In red leatherette, peen buttons set where her fanny sweat raised her wrist to fan in a mouse cough.
Mouse cough. Max, we're coming to you to defend your choice of Harry Irene. You gave it 7 points.
I did. I realise that to many B.E.F.O.U.T fans, that might not be a particularly stellar track, but it's just something that has like a really strong personal connection for me. Like this whole album does, really. And to me, there's like a huge amount of affection on that song. Like it sounds like he's talking about some friends of his, and there's a fondness. You know, it's like you get the feeling that he just genuinely loves Harry and Irene. They're like two of his best friends, and they've got this like cafe and stuff. And it's just a really nice song. It's not punky, it's not weird, it's not really particularly alternative, but it just makes me feel really happy, and that's why I voted for it. Really.
It is a very sweet song, and I know the way my mind works, after 10 more listens, it will be probably one of my favorite songs on the album. And that's why I play that Malkmus stuff, because it reminds me so much of the early Malkmus stuff that I do like. It also reminds me of Randy Newman, and obviously there's a little bit of
Yeah.
Yeah, but Randy Newman was the first thing that came to me, which immediately made me balk. It's like, but I finally sort of got over it.
You got a friend in me.
Yeah, essentially, yeah, and all the good old boys stuff. Yeah, anything to say on the Seam Cook Sam and Apes-Ma, Max?
Sing Crooked Sam, did I give that some points? I don't think I gave
No,
that
no,
points.
I gave it all its points.
Sing Crooked Sam, you know, feels like another beat poetry thing, but not quite as good as the stuff that's on Ice Cream for Crow. If it was going to be on an album, it would be on that album, but like I sort of don't mind that it wasn't. Apes-Ma, I really like. I think it's my favorite bit of spoken word by him, because it's like it's a short story rather than a poem. And the short story is really intriguing and a little bit sci-fi, I think, because it sounds like he's talking to a sentient ape creature, like the result of some sort of experiment or something. But like at the end, you've got this incredible like punch to the gut of like, your cage isn't getting any bigger, Apes-Ma.
Yeah.
Which is like, if this thing is intelligent enough for you to understand what it's saying, you know. And Don Van Vliet loved animals. I think he liked animals more than people. And to me, that track, piece it's like a critique of how he feels about how humans mistreat animals, basically. And I think it's just a beautiful short story. Well, it's not beautiful. It's a great troubling short story.
Troubling for sure, very sad, and I always in my mind imagine that it's either that sci-fi that only got kind of like thing, or or it's his mother talking to him and putting him down and saying, "Why are you not doing anything? You going there?
No, it's
The good days have gone, Don."
that okay. That was no that take on it would never have entered my mind in a million years.
Yeah, it makes
I
me
think
excited.
it's a criticism of like scientists like putting animals in cages, I think.
I'll go with that one. I think that makes me a little less unhappy. DB, where you sang on these?
So Steam Crooked Sam, I thought it's totally fine, but that's the song I was alluding to in the last round. It's another beat poetry one. I enjoy it quite a lot. Harry Irene, I'm just going to read directly from my notes. I wrote Beatlesy, or the blueprint for all of Elephant 6. Unusually coy vocal alternating between singing and crooning, but in a way that works with the generally daffy vibes. And then I thought about it a bit more. I said, I get the Randy Newman comparison as the song develops, but I don't know loads about his music because it's too clever for me. And then the one that, yeah, like to add on to your thoughts on Apes-Ma, what it reminds me of, and this is not a direct comparison, have any of you three gents seen or heard of a film called Poto and Cabango?
Oh, no.
Poto and Cabango is a documentary by, I think his name's Jean-Pierre Gorin, who was a collaborator of Godard in the 70s. But he makes this fairly straight-up documentary about these two girls in America who were written off as being intellectually subnormal. But then it turned out that they kind of created their own language between each other, and only they could understand it, like idioglossia. And it's like a film about like development and, you know, like it's a little bit of a social realist thing as well because it looks into their background, but it kind of got that feeling of like the sort of the incomprehensibility of being in the cage and the kind of the not understanding conceptually what a cage is and what you're missing out. So I agree with what Max said. Like it's what is not said in this story is so powerful and so troubling. I didn't give it any points, but that doesn't mean that I don't really think about this one quite a lot. It's just I'm giving points for music because I'm a music guy. But I think it's brilliant. I think all three of these are really good. I like Harry Irene. It's just that the top 10 are better.
Indeed.
What's that word idioglossia? I've not heard that one before.
Yeah, a language contained by, you know, a small group, like a kind of a language known to oneself. Obviously, you can't have a completely private language because your concepts need to be related.
But communication is really important. And like when you get kind of like institutionalized, you can develop these things. And it's like Polari.
Yeah. So like Poto and Cabango are their names for each other, and there's like the film tries to go into where these words that they come up with came from, and they have a bit of a hypothesis by the end, which sort of sheds daylight on magic a bit, but there's still kind of mysteries left after the film is finished, which I think will, if you think about it next to this film, I'm sure you'll make the connections that I'm abstractly trying to push forward to you.
Sounds really interesting.
Beautiful. Al, yes, Seam, Crooked Sam, Harry Irene, Apes-Ma.
Right, I'll try and do the best I can do. Apes-Ma, I've got a very different take on this one.
Don't know why that's funny.
Brace yourself.
No. Do you remember, like Brendan? You might remember when we did the Mordcast, and it was the Bleeding Gums Murphy thing. Everyone was like, "Oh, Bleeding Gums Murphy's a lovely guy, this, that, and the other," and I was like, "No, he's an absolute fucking cunt. What he does." And you're saying that's all right. He says he's playing blues. No, he says he's playing jazz. And he's not. He's just playing shit like fucking Bruce Springsteen. But this, right, he's got this bird in a cage and he's fucking complaining about it because it's too big. Get a bigger cage. That's like an animal welfare issue. And fucking clean up after it. What the bloody hell? You know, oh, you're pooping too much? No, you're just a negligent owner of a pet. That's the vibe I'm getting from this. I can get why you might say it as being sentimental, and I did. I used to think that was the case, but I just listened to it and took a really different take on it. Like, you know, I would not want to be living in a tiny cage covered in my own shit. Anybody else wants to volunteer for that, you know? But you know, and it's like he's mocking the bird. You know, he doesn't understand what he's saying to it, and I see it as cruelty.
That was an assumption, and like what you've revealed is that I'd never like questioned my assumption I always had an assumption that Apes-Ma could sort of vaguely understand what was being said to it. But if you were to say that it can't, and it's just some like really bad pet owner ranting at their pet, yeah, that is a
You
different
bastard, shitting all over the place. Fuck off. You're going to die soon.
It's clear there's a lot of depth in there. Anything to add on our Harry Irene before we move on? We're almost
Yeah, it's
at the
bloody
playoffs.
awful. Can't stand it. Like, yeah. It reminds me of like Paul McCartney. I kind of wrote "Stop this now," and when the organ comes in, it's like no. But I can understand why people might have nice memories of it, and I'm not going to sort of like,
Yeah. No, I mean, Dan mentioned the Beatles thing as well, I think, and you're right. It is kind of like Penny Lane or something, And I, like I said earlier, I'm not going to like fight its corner or anything. I just have a
No,
soft
but
spot.
you like blue jeans, and that's legit. I'm not going to question why you like it. It's not one of my favourites, so it kind of like ties into that. So that's where we see things differently.
Well, here we go, Alistair, because the next three, we've got Hobo-ism with 9 points, which you gave all 9 points to, and nobody else even gave it a sniff. You Know You're a Man, which also got 9 points from a couple of people, and Candle Mambo, which is up in with 10 points. So let's have a listen to those three, and we can see what we think about. Oh, look. Okay.
You need Fire TV.
Fire.
Yeah,
Candle
you
Mambo.
take this all out in the edit. It's fine.
Mambo.
Don't know.
Is it nice to have random adverts in English instead of
We were
Japanese?
saying the other day, it was like there's so many more. It's like a double.
I told Brendan to fuck off back to Japan so we could watch some decent adverts.
Yeah. It's okay to say fuck off to Japan if you're talking to an English person.
Yeah.
Candle strike, candle weep, fly hot candle leaf, candle roll and folding balls, candle large, candle small. Your threads of fire burning up, your feathers of fire winning night and turning light and turning light. She makes you understand. Yeah, you know you're a man. Yeah, you know you're a girl. When we're starting to, we got a glow starting. Deeper, you know you're a man. Yeah, she makes you know you're a man.
Alistair, the floor is yours. Hobo-ism.
Well, I'll start with you know you're a man.
Yeah.
Well, nowadays gender politics is a bit more complicated, isn't it? Yeah, when it was released, it's probably a bit different. Like when it was released, which was 1980. My knowledge of that, I was a big fan of the Pink Panther, but beyond watching Carry On films and stuff like that for camp stuff. Yeah, don't know much about that. But I hate the song really. It's like cock rock. Not a fan at all. Let's have a look. Got to go through my gander bag. Next one. Which one is it?
Hobo-ism, which was your big one.
Hobo-ism. I've got my notes for that there. I think there's a nasty. Well, right, it's the bluesy stuff, right? I like. I know Dan hates it, the White Boy Blues, but
saying nothing.
They just said something. But I like the recording. I like the hiss, and I'm a sucker for some of the bluesy stuff. You know, I've got like back the shit like Blind Willie McTell and you know,
Blind Lemon Jefferson.
One String Sam.
Yeah. What did you think of Candle Mambo?
I really like Candle Mambo. It's the rhythms on it. There's amazing drumming. In the percussion with the marimbas, it works well with the polyrhythms. So you've got like a really good groove going on. There's a bit of nasty stuff in there as well, especially at the end when the drums go mad. And that's nice because you got something like it's dead pleasant and then they're going. Yeah, the end bit reminds me a bit of the end part of Marquee Moon, I think. But you can see how it would influence those types of people.
Yeah, very much. DB, coming to you. What do you make of these three?
So let's start where I'm in accordance with Al, with Candle Mambo, which I gave points to. Great tune. I think the original version's maybe a touch better. You can hear the joie de vivre in his voice. He's really singing the shit out of this one. It verges on musical theatre at times, but I will forgive it. Then let's go to where I completely disagree with Al, with Hobo-ism, and I thought this was the worst one of the lot. I just wrote garbage. I just think this is just fucking plodding shite. Never want to hear that one again. So let's go somewhere in the middle with You Know You're a Man. This could have been off any of the last four in a way. I see what you're saying, Brendan, when you say that you think this is a consolidation. But I think the textures in the playing are a bit more upbeat. It's kind of a bit more realised. The odd switches. There's kind of a real low-down bass swing going on. There's some kind of very weathered textures. His voice sounds a little bit older on this record, I think. Normally, I would not like songs like this where Al says like cock rock, but then when you really listen to it, there are not really any songs like this. This is Beefheart kind of twisting an idea until he makes it its own. I think it's a good one. I also gave this points.
Well, I put that down as an extension of the Peaches.
Oh, don't say that. Don't say that.
I just thought it was shit.
Do you know how long it took to get Peaches out of my head after we did that episode? Literally 3.5 fucking weeks.
Is it on? It's not on Blue Jeans, is it?
So no, it's one of the.
It's unconditionally guaranteed, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's officially agreed by everybody. Worst album.
But it's a good sign that it's stuck in your head for 3 weeks.
Oh, he's got a tune Stockhausen would kill for that kind of tune. When
Stockhausen and Van Vliet facing each other in the ring tonight.
Yeah. I've written down cock rocking as well for the When You're a Man, and it's kind of it's actually quite nice. For me, it is the band's take on just a heavy rock tune, but there's enough magic band in there to make it not that. It's not just an Allman Brothers or a Zeppelin kind of like chugger. It's got some nice twists and turns in there. I don't mind it at all, actually. I didn't score it though. And Hobo-ism, I think if you're gonna look for the blues stompers, they did the Mirror Man stuff, even though I shat over most of it, they'd already kind of nailed that thing. But I agree with Al on the fact that I do like a really rough recording, and this is as rough as it gets. It's a proper like one cassette recorder in the middle of the room while they're stomping it out. Yeah, really do. Kind of Mambo I've gone back and forth on because like you said, on the musical theatre, the cheesiness of it, the silliness of it. Sometimes if I'm not in the mood, I'm like, no thanks. But then it wins me over almost every time by the time I get to the end.
You know what, Brendan? There's very few songs that I dance to with my partner, and that's one that I think can be perfect. It's just sort of like it's nice rhythm, it's lovely sentiment. She might actually go, I don't know, it's Captain Beefheart. I don't know who Captain Beefheart is like, but there you go. You can get away with it.
Well, I think
it's the most romantic song that he's ever done, I think.
Oh, well, we're talking Blue Jeans, Max, and you're all over that album.
Oh, actually, yeah. No, there are like make-out songs on Blue Jeans, but like what I was just saying, if you were going to ask a woman to dance, not ask a woman to dance, ask your partner
request a dance from
Yeah.
a partner.
Your actual partner, like, hey, let's come and have a bit of a dance, like Candle Mambo is like, I think it's actually a good
It's up
choice.
there with Lady in Red. It has to be.
It's far superior, but yeah.
Yeah, I
All
really
that
like.
rapping.
Yeah, I like it a lot, and Art Trip is really good on this. And I think Dan pointed out a little earlier about the Elephant Six thing. I'll come back to this in another song because I think there's another song that has more of that 90s indie Elephant Six vibe, but this is it up there. And I don't know if it's actually a mambo, but it's certainly got some kind of sweet Latin rhythms going through it, which is very nice. And made me think it could have been on Blue Jeans. It
I
could
don't think Tito Puente would sanction this.
Too bad for Tito. We're going ahead with it. Max, what do you take on Candle, you know you're a man, and Hobo-ism?
Yeah, so get the easy one out of the way first. Hobo-ism, I just didn't grab me at all. But it's the first time I've ever heard it today, and B.E.F.O.U.T is definitely like the sort of artist where it takes a few days, takes a few listens. Candle Mambo, I quite like, I think it's nice. It's like B.E.F.O.U.T meets like actually getting your, like Al was just saying, getting your girlfriend, wife, whatever, to come up and like actually have a dance. There's not very many B.E.F.O.U.T songs where you would like invite your wife onto the dance floor.
What about Pina?
Yeah, it's this and Pina as the final. It's nice, I'm just checking. I can't remember if I actually put it in my top 10.
Candle Mambo,
No, I didn't. I didn't put it in my top 10. No, but I do like it. It's nice. You're a man is interesting because it is like, to me, it's like nowadays a woman's got to hit a man from, I can't remember if it's Clear Spot or Spotlight Kid, because to me that's like one album. Like it literally, I bought the CD and it's got the both things in there. It's talking about gender politics. It's talking about how, if you're with a woman and she says like, you make me feel like a woman, that's a nice thing. That's like what's her face? Janis Joplin. It's that sort of thing. It's like it's okay to be a man, right? It doesn't, like, we're not talking about oppressing women. We're not talking about like toxic masculinity or anything. It's just like if you're with somebody of the opposite sex and they say, you make me feel like the gender that I identify as, that makes you feel good, and that is a nice thing. And both of those songs are sort of about that for me. And it's like you're a man is not like, it's not a celebration of like maleness. It's not saying men are better than women or anything. It's the same sentiment as Janis Joplin saying, you make me feel like a natural woman. It's like, I'm with somebody that makes me feel like good about my sexuality or whatever. And and so there's that. But also just on a purely musical level, I just think it's like a good blues song. And like a lot of Beefheart stuff is like so dependent on like what direction you're coming from when you're like judging the song. So like if you're coming at his stuff from is this a good alternative weird song, it will get a particular sort of score. If you're coming at it from like, is this a good blues song? You go like, yeah, this is a really interestingly weird blues song. And you're a man is like that for me. It's like, it's not, it's not going to sit on Track Mask Replica or something, but you go like, if I'm coming along expecting a blues song and I get this, I go like, oh, this is quite a cool, interesting blues song. And that's kind of why I like a lot of the stuff on Blue Jeans and Moonbeams, It's like, compared to Track Mask Replica, it's kind of shit, but compared to like most people's blues albums, it's pretty good.
I'll just jump in really quickly on the the gender politics of you're a man. Really, I agree with everything you just said. I also think that it's part of Beefheart's kind of appeal to inner feeling, triumphing kind of science as a form of knowledge. They kind of go, you're a man. I feel like this, rather than something else affirms me as this. And I think that also kind of relates to the whole. We've been kind of talking about very gently around this kind of theory of like trans kind of critiques of Beefheart. I think there's something actually quite positive in this title. Continue with your other ones, Max. I just wanted to throw that in there, in agreement with you, I think.
Yeah, thanks. That's actually really interesting with this sort of trans thing of like, you're a man. I think that could 100% apply to people who weren't born with a penis. And that's like a really interesting take on that song.
My take on this is just a shit song.
But with a message, Al. And this is what's important.
It's very much the 19 of its day.
His music was shit, but he could really make you think.
You know me, I don't listen to the lyrics. I'm just listening to the music, and I'm like, nah, this isn't for me.
Fair enough. All right, so here we go. So we are approaching the playoffs, but in a very interesting and weird phenomena. 3 tracks got 15 points, and only 2 of them can make it to the playoffs. So we are going to have to go to the fingers. We have Love Lies, When I See a Mommy, and Ice Rose. And so let us throw up our fingers for each of these songs. So let's start at the top with Love Lies. Out of 3, we got 8 points. We know where the sentimentalists are in the room. When I See a Mommy, 3, 6, 9, 10, 11 for Mommy. And Ice Rose, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And so that means that When I See a Mommy and Ice Rose go through, and Love Lies gets its own little section of songs that could have and should have, but really didn't. Let's have a listen to Love Lies. We're talking smooth Don, and pushes all of my buttons, doesn't he? But first, maybe there'll be an advert for online gambling.
Thatcher's Juicy Apple.
If we get lucky, are you feeling lucky, punk?
Yeah,
with your
you know what? I discovered recently, Magnum's not a gun; it's a bullet.
No, it's not. It's an ice cream.
Stop
by your house, saw your lamp lit. Not a sign of you in it. Where could you go at this hour? Street lamps flutter like fire.
I mean, first of all, I think it's recycling something from an earlier song, and I can't quite get my head around what song it's doing it. And it does sound like possibly the most Tom Waits song he's ever done. And I'm not a Tom Waits fan, so I'm not quite sure why I like it. But
well, I think Beefheart is a massive influence on Tom Waits, probably the biggest influence. And interestingly, Zappa put Tom Waits' first album out,
right.
So maybe they all actually like knew each other or something. I don't know.
Well, by this point, I think we talked in the last few albums whether or not we thought that Don had heard Tom. By this point, Waits had put out like 4 or 5 albums, and there's absolutely no way that Don couldn't have heard him by that point, I think. But again, it could just be coincidence of 2 artists that have similar styles, and obviously Tom Waits is. Even went on to try Mass Replica, Swordfish Trombones in the 80s, where he dug even deeper into Donism.
It's hard to know, isn't it? I think they are the artists that are swimming in the same waters, like culturally, and probably aware of each other's stuff, but like I think each other wasn't the main influence on what the other one was doing. They were both influenced by so many of the other same things, and had a similar sort of mentality, I think, of trying to do something that nobody had ever heard before, and also trying to get away from, Beefheart always talked about getting away from the mother, which he described as like the fetal heartbeat of like boom, boom, boom.
Right, yeah.
So for him, it's like rock music is all like about that sort of fetal heartbeat reproduced, and he was always trying to get away from that and do a beat that was kind of more broken and something more disjointed. And I think Tom Waits had a similar kind of aesthetic.
And also following the meter of your words and not trying to force it into or following the meter of your like piano lines and not trying to force it into that 4/4.
Tom Waits like did something. I'm actually not a massive Tom Waits fan. He's like one of these artists that I admire more than I actually enjoy, like Bob Dylan. But one thing that's really interesting about him was that he would deliberately force himself to learn how to play new instruments because he felt that like if you try to compose music using a specific instrument like a guitar, you would just end up trapped by the things that you'd learned on that guitar. And that's like what most guitarists do. I think you learn a bunch of chords, and that it's like when you come to play some music, you'll play those chords that you've all played like so many times before. You don't.
That is true, but I'm like self-taught, and you always go back to. You've got like a chord that you start off with, regardless of whether or not you're trained. You got to your comfort zone.
Yeah, but Tom Waits' thing was to break out of that and go like, on this, I'm going to learn how to play the bassoon, and I'm going to start composing songs using a bassoon because that'll just 100% take me out of my comfort zone.
Do you know what? That's what I call having fun. It's like, do you remember We Are the Champions where they get to jump in the pool at the end?
Yeah.
So like, just like playing an instrument that you don't know how to play. Yeah, free time. Come on, let's jump in the pool, play around. That's fun.
On that, Alistair, what do you think of the song "Love Lies" by Captain Beefheart?
I'm not a big fan. Trying to find my notes. I don't even need to find my notes. It's just like dreary. Stop it now kind of thing. Yeah, I can get the Tom Waits thing, but I don't like Tom Waits too much. It's a bit kind of like theatrical. You got that nice melancholy thing going on with it, which is all right. And the marimbas really the standout for me on this one. But it's just a bit middle of the road. Right. Dan might disagree and say it's more adult-orientated rock.
It's beautiful and winding. Dan, what do you think about this? Where does it stand? Which part of the road?
It's certainly on the right-hand side of the road, I guess, but that's not a problem for me. So I gave this 8 points, and it's I would call one of the 4 pillars of the record. I really love this song. What this album also has is, maybe he never truly went away, but there's still some horny gone on this record. And this is the kind of the sad side of that coin. It's the Flophouse side of the horny dawn coin. I think the lyrics are really beautiful. I think it's a really tenderly composed image of a man going through kind of like it's like that, a feeling that happens in a second stretched out to the duration of a song. And I think that's what songs can do really well, to kind of like present an entire emotion and sustain it for your kind of like thought process. There's a real inner fragility that's at the surface, which I've kind of argued before. And I think the song just says a lot more by holding back. And I like the kind of the slightly sad, clowny trombone exploration as it goes on. I think it's a really, really beautiful song.
Interesting you say clowny, because it really reminded me of like kind of like circusy type sad clown.
This is where I think he's doing a bit of a Pagliacci here. I think he's doing a kind of like the misery of the clown, and I think he feels like a clown on this record who's sort of, and at times he's really played into that on like Tropical Hot Dog Nights, like I'm the clown, I'm the party guy, and then it's like this is the other side of it, like the man behind the mask. And I think it's a really tenderly well thought out record because of that, and this is why I'm glad this is the album and not the original version.
It's a beautiful snapshot of the lyrics of him basically being outside the house of his partner and wondering why he can't go in or what they're doing or what they're up to, and he's just sad and he's outside, and it's beautiful in that sense. It's one of Don's most tender moments for me. Max, what did you actually take of this song?
I kind of agree with what you were saying about Love Lies. It didn't make it into my top 10. off this album, and I think there's like 12 songs. But I don't like hate it or anything. But I totally agree with what Dan was saying. I get the sort of tenderness of it and the kind of melancholy regret. I mean, it's the line, I wish that I hadn't told you all of those love lies, because that completely changes the tone of the song, isn't it? It's not, this isn't like about my woman cheating on me. This is about I've fucked up a relationship by lying.
Yeah.
And now I really, really regret it. And that's a much more interesting sentiment.
Do you think that's written about another person or himself?
Well, it's always hard to know with songwriters, isn't it? You know, you kind of put yourself in a place. It doesn't necessarily have to be autobiographical.
I think there are some themes on this record of infidelity. There's that line near the end of Harry Irene where it sounds like she's run off. Then he goes, "Oh, it was Dusty," and it's kind of this kind of.
Oh, it's
sort
Dusty,
of,
not Harry.
Yeah, he's sort of like muddying the waters around the kind of around the smoothness of some of these narratives. I think it's a really well considered album on that route.
I was wondered about that line. I never understood what that line meant.
I think the themes there, Dan, as you say, there's some sort of hint that he or his character has been playing away from home a little, and he's regretting. But from what I understand, he was with his wife for a long, long time, and I don't.
Yeah, Jan, wasn't it? Yeah.
Jan, yeah. All right. So that finally.
But, I mean, Zappa was with his wife for a long, long time, but he still shagged everything that moved.
Yeah.
Probably about 30 years.
It's part of the showbiz lifestyle, really, isn't it? So we come up to, again, what we're in the showdown sprays, and we're going first. The winner, which are actually only won by 1 point, will go through automatically, and we'll put 2 against 7 and so on. So our first showdown is the song that came in 4th up against 5th. Suction Prince, interestingly, with 21 points, up against Bat Chain Puller with 18. Let's have a listen to those two and do a showdown. Did I say Suction Points or Suction Prince? Suction Prince against Bat Chain.
This one is.
Yeah, I will be editing this out. I'm trying to avoid editing the videos because they're a pain in the ass to edit videos, but
fucking AI sheep.
I think if you're this far,
just use puppets. It's more ecologically friendly. Or real sheep.
If you're this far in, you're watching the advert. Sorry.
Oh, that's fair enough, isn't it? Here we go.
Whistles like a root snatched from dry.
One thing that I noticed, whereas these types of songs were 2 minutes on Trout Mask, they're 5 minutes on here, and I don't know if that works better. For me, it doesn't, but that's mostly due to my attention span. But DB, we've got section Prince against Bat Chain Puller.
So these were 8th and 9th in my list. I won't say which way around until we get to the vote. So Bat Chain Puller, I just think it's a really good psych blues. I actually wrote some lyrics down. I'm going to quote lyrics. Bulbs shoot from its snoot and vanish into darkness. It whistles like a root snatched from dry earth. Sod busting rakes with great dust claws. Announces it's coming into morning. Got some kind of like apocalyptic-ish imagery there. Bit Cormac McCarthy-esque. One thing I would just say about this album is I think the Beef has been doing time down the old Lyrics Factory. I think he's been putting in the hours and it's really showing.
Yeah.
Suction Prince, I wrote as a note, demented jitterbug played to a field of angry frogs. It's the nearest thing here to Trout Mask Don, though it's much more lockstep rock and roll than modern composition. I like both of these very much. I can see why you'll like them maybe a bit more than me, but I'm happy they're here.
Max has got them in 4th and 6th. Al's got them in 1st and 3rd. Suction Prince being Al's top. So let's go to Al first. Suction Prince and Bat Chain Puller. You love them both?
Indeed I do. Suction Prince is amazing. I can scroll down. Where do I start with this shit? You know, the structure is one of the main things about it that I really like. There's so many little bits where it like kind of like breaks down and then gets into like big bits. Rhythmically, it's amazing. Reminds me a lot of Ella Guru in the way that it just like transfers from like one riff to another. It's like sans shift and that kind of thing. It's just really well composed and performed, and there's a really fast, nasty rhythm bit that I love. That bang, 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 and that's just like pummeling you in the.
That is 100% the best part of that track. Yeah.
Yeah, in it reminds me of that bit. Reminds me of, like there's a Jesus Lizard song, and I think that they're nicking a rhythm from that big time. Can't remember which.
Oh,
one.
Gladiator.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a bit like kind of like well, you probably influenced a lot of math rock stuff. God knows. Right, which was the other one? Bat Chain Puller. Yeah, it's another one I really love. So I voted it 3rd. Like the Bat Chain Puller version. It sounds a bit rawer, but that just might be me. But yeah, they kind of like, you got like a straight thing going on and then they deviate from the groove, deconstruct it and then kick it back in again. A script down as well. There must be some lyrical thing with a comment. I don't know that dolphins could draw, but apparently they can. But it's one that's an easy cover for the drums. Because like a lot of like the B.E.E.F.O.U.T stuff is really fucking complicated, but this would be an easy one because the drumming's like really straight. It best on windscreen wipers.
That's right, yeah. And I think I agree with it. The raw version on Bat Chain might be the one of that bunch that I would go to. Though I think both these songs do a similar thing. They have lots of twists and turns, lots of really good riffs and noise. I just think Suction Prince does a better job. I find the ones on the Bat Chain Puller a little bit more twee or not quite as interesting, but yeah, lots of little chunks all the way through, really quite creative in that sense. Max, what's your take on these two and which one wins out?
Suction Prince, like I was just saying, I think it's the most trouty track on this album. It's like a jazz workout kind of thing, but structured and not too self-indulgent, and contains itself. And it's just really good. And like Al was saying, that bit where it's like it's just brilliant. Bat Chain Puller, what that sounds like to me is a better way to do beat poetry, where the poet like makes an attempt to like fit their words at least onto the same tempo as what the musicians are doing, which is kind of like it reminded me a bit of John Cooper Clarke's Disguise in Love album, Disguise in Love, where he's with the Invisible Girls, I think, who possibly Pauline Murray's backing band, or maybe
which is Matt Hannett, right? Martin Hannett.
Yeah,
it was produced. It was produced by Martin Hannett. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and it's a similar thing where it's like we've got this band just playing a bunch of grooves. I've got my poems. I'm gonna try to like do my poetry in time with the music, and it works really, really well. much better than just noodling with like talking over the top. And that's kind of what Batchain Puller is like. The version, the sort of original version that's on the Batchain Puller original sessions thing. I thought that sounded really interesting. I'd like to listen to that more times. I think it's possible I might end up preferring that to the version that's on Shiny Beast because it is quite interesting.
Yeah, it's the standout of those tracks for me, although there's another couple that haven't popped up yet. So let's take a vote. DB, which way are you going?
Suction Prince was 1 point higher, so I'll stay with that.
Okie dokie. Alistair, which way are you going? He's on mute. Still on mute.
Brilliant. First time. I've done well there. Batchain Puller I really love, but Suction Prince is the one that's got the highest.
Yeah, and I'm going Suction Prince as well. I think it's the more inventive of the two. Max, which way you're going?
Also Suction Prince.
Well, it was an easy one in the end, and it actually only scored 3 more points in the real world, but it was an easy victory.
And Brendan, those are both songs that have stuck on compilation tapes back in the 1990s.
You were way ahead of us all, Alistair.
I wasn't. There's older people than me that were well into it.
A slight tangent. The first time that I ever heard B.E.F.O.U.T was Dropout Boogie on a compilation tape, a mixtape that a friend of mine did for me.
Nice.
Let's hear it for mixtapes.
Absolutely. It's the way we, most of us stumbled into this gold. So
you say you shared knowledge.
It is indeed. DB's disappeared, but I'm sure he'll come back. We got Tropical Hot Dog Night, which came in 3rd with 20 points, up against the one that we just looked at, which is When I See a Mummy. So we'll have a list of those two and see what we.
When was the last time you enjoyed a full match?
I don't know. Stop asking me questions.
Let's edit the shit out. Easier.
Oh, wow.
I wonder if DB's gone forever. I'll have to see if he's messed.
Tropical hot dog night. Like 2 flamingos in a fruit fight. Every color of day. Whirling around out to feast on monster tonight.
When I see a mummy, I feel like a mummy. And you love mummy songs, don't you, Alistair? But also, you love hot dogs, vegan hot dogs.
No, they're a bit disgusting, them, like, but it's, other people might like. When I see mummy, right, this is another example of something that I describe as evil sounding. There's a touch of voodoo to it, or something like that, and. I have practiced food. There we go. Chucking it in the room. It's the evil sounding stuff that I really like, and they're the ones that are really fucking groovy on this LP. It all sounds like really cohesive, but every musician's kind of like doing something different, and it all kind of like ties in and works perfectly. They're just like, really nailing it as top class people who can work with each other, not just like, I'm following what you do. Well, a script. The structure, really love on it. And there's some really nasty guitar breaks in it. And I can see like Craig Scanlon being owning a copy of this Yeah.
What
But
about
the brass,
Tropical Hot Dog Night?
the brass as well is just like it's really great. And coming from like the northwest of England, there's a big kind of like tradition for like brass bands and stuff like that. It'd have been great to link in with some people in the past just to do something a bit mad but like competent at the same time.
Indeed.
Instead of me just like picking up an instrument and playing around like it's the end
Like
of
bloody
the
Ornette Coleman over here. DB, where do you stand on Mummy versus Floppy? Mummy versus Tropical Hot Dogs?
So these are two more of the pillars of this record. So when I see Mommy, Dr. Freud likes the title, jerking and herking in equal measure, great strangulated chicken wire guitar noise and comic sad-faced trombone interjections. It really shouldn't work at all, but I'm almost afraid to say that it really, really, really does. The middle instrumental section, one of my favourite invented musical subgenres, which is the weird national anthem for a country that doesn't exist. I love this song more and more. Maybe I underrated it on my list. However, Tropical Hot Dog Nights, back in episode 1, I said Don should have had 2 hits. This is the other one. The best of Don, cracked vocal, a party president checking the drinks are being topped up at the most fun party in town. Love how the vocal gradually breaks down and fractures as it goes on. Could go 8 more verses to see where it ends up. Horny Don never leaves us, but here it's most welcome. Everything's wrong at the same time it's right. And then I said, Meet the Monster. This is PJ Harvey is kind of nabbing this one with a Tepper connection.
Yeah.
Both great. Love them both. Tropical Hot Dog Night wins just because it's been in my heart since the day I first heard it when I nicked it off Napster in about 2000.
It's the unexpected Don hit single. Yeah, you put the album on and it just comes out and you're like, yeah, this could absolutely be in the top 10 anywhere in the world. Feel Like a Mummy less so, but interesting for sure. And I have to say his lyrics in that song did put me off. I've not managed to get past that yet.
I love them. I love how fucking like rude they are and how vulgar it is. Like it's just there's something really unashamed about it. And after his last 2 records where he's kind of all like, hey, let's go to Makeout Creek and smooch by the AM radio, this is so much more welcome.
He's fun, like he wants people to lick those decals right off, doesn't he? Max, where are you standing with Feel Like a Mummy versus Tropical Hot Dogs?
Well, yeah, just carrying on with the Tropical Hot Dogs thing, just 100% agree with what Dan was saying. I love how he does that sort of voice cracking thing where it's like, you have to be with me, sort of thing, which is probably not going to come over very well on the podcast. But I think
I agree with you because there's bits like Kim Deal does it really well with the voice breaking, where it's kind of like you're getting an imperfection coming across.
Yeah,
it's dead effective.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, and yeah, it is. It's kind of like it's just it's a fun, loving vibe. And again, going back to like Candle Mambo, it's a similar sort of vibe to Candle Mambo. It's like I'm out dancing with the person that I love and I'm having a really nice time. And that's kind of the vibe with that song. And it's just a really nice, feel-good vibe, you know. When I see Mommy, I absolutely love. And it's very, very, very different. It's a darker, weirder tune. It could sit quite happily on Doc at the radar station. It's in that sort of like slightly more paranoid kind of bad trip sort of place. And I think that they're both fantastic songs and they're so different to each other. It's really interesting.
I Feel Like a Mummy, I talked to Dan about this the other week. It's pinching the riff from Trust Us from It Comes in a Brown Paper Bag, Strictly Personal, which is one of my favorite riffs. And they actually do something interesting with it. They don't just take the riff, they kind of expand it and mess around with it. So it is really a really cool song. But I feel when I say Mummy, I feel like a mummy. I don't know. I'm still not there yet. I will be at some point, won over by it, but I'm not quite. It was obviously Tropical Hot Tonight is just as stupid. And I can just imagine a literal like cartoon hot dog just jumping around.
Yeah.
That's the image in my head.
Yeah, it's like 2 flamingos in a fruit fight.
A fruit fight, handbags at dawn. So
I've never heard the phrase fruit fights before this song. It's like, I suppose it's like a cream pie fight, maybe.
That's what I always imagined. It's like just lots of people having fun and throwing food at each other.
Right.
Do you remember? Do you remember that there's a Monty Python sketch where they kind of like it's a drill thing with the army, and teaching the army about being attacked by pieces of fruit.
Oh yeah, pointed sticks.
My very brief interpretation of this, if you read the lyrics of this record, there's lots of repetitive use of colours. And I see this as a bit of colour imagery. It's kind of like you got the flamingo, it's pink, and then the fruit's flying everywhere. It's this kind of like, it's an explosion of colour. Like, it's a very kind of, I think it's a very image-led song, this.
Yeah.
That's
an interesting point. Vibrant, I guess, is a word that you could use.
Yes, very much so. But it's time to take a vote. Alistair, which way are you going?
I like the Mummies. I used to bandage up, so I'm going to go with Mummy because it's dead groovy.
Good.
And weird.
DB?
Hot dog.
Max?
I'm going hot dog for just the good time vibes.
I'm also going hot dog. So the Mummy's got to go. Alistair?
It's a tough blow. That is a great song that we're chucking out. That would have won the last 3 weeks, I think.
They're both great songs,
Yeah.
Great.
They've all got lovely bottoms.
Indeed. So that takes us to the final showdown, which is Floppy Boot Stomp up against Ice Road. You go. Get yourself some sky.
It's free. It's like just go outside and look up. It's there.
Some internet when you're sneaking around.
We'll know what's there.
The farmer screaming in blue sky off the mountains. Eye sockets look down on the chessboard meadows. And the sun dropped down and the moon ran off. His heels and elbows pale as chalk. And all the comets collided into the dust. In the red violin took the full folk to do the hold down. Farmer jumped in a circle and flung his chalk right down. By a square dancing.
I know it's obvious, the whole chanted hoodoo, but it's brilliant, and I think it's a new thing that we haven't heard in any Beef stuff before. They kind of chanted round, rousing chorus vocals, and absolutely sells it for me. Max, what do we think? What do you think?
Yeah, you just literally.
I haven't played Ice Rose, have I? Sorry. Go on, tell us what you think of those two, and then I'll play Ice Rose.
Why don't you do Ice Rose first, and then we'll circle back to that.
All right, that will set the scene, won't it? Apologies. I'm all over the place as we approach the Alrighty, coming back to you, Maximus. What do you think?
Well, I was going with Ice Rose because that was the last one. I absolutely love Ice Rose. There's just so much energy. The way that it just starts, just the energy and commitment, the way it comes in, it's just like, let's fucking do this. Do you know what I mean? It's an incredible piece of music. I think there are probably instrumentals on Trout Mask, which, would beat this. But I think this just stands alone as like just an incredible work, an incredible piece of instrumental music. It's my favourite instrumental Captain Beefheart song of any album.
Yeah, but it's way up there. I agree.
When it comes to Floppy Boot,
apologies, I'm back.
Yeah, so I was just talking about how the sort of hoodoo hoedown thing. It really does have that feel. It's like a sort of foot stomping thing. You can imagine like a bunch of hillbillies in the barn, like stomping their feet on the ground and like having a really like good night, It's just a really fun track. If I was going to choose out of the two of them, I would definitely choose Ice Rose. But Floppy Boot Stomp is just a great bit of fun.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Ice Rose is beautiful and probably my favorite instrumental. I've written like Alice in Blunderland done right, and I think you had a soft spot for Alice, maybe Max, if I remember rightly. But
Yeah,
I do.
I just need to raise this now, actually, that I in one of the previous episodes I gave Alice in Blunderland like 7 points out of 10 or something, and you just completely discounted it and threw my points away because you wanted something else to like go through. I think that's possibly a little bit out of order, but I've said it now and I won't mention it again.
Fair enough. Yeah.
I only brought it up because you mentioned Alice in Blunderland.
No. It needs to be brought up if I acted out of line. I'll have to listen back and see. There may need to be some disciplinary action, but
Yeah, steward's inquiry.
Exactly.
It's okay, Max. He doesn't. We just did the end of round 3 fall thing where I mentioned every error that he's made for 3 series.
It's a considerable amount, but not as malicious as Alice in Blunderland.
No.
That's okay.
Yeah, these two are really good, aren't they? Although for some reason I didn't have Ice Rose in the points. Ice Rose, I wrote great melody and counter melody. Love what's going on with the horns and the marimba, but without Dawn, it feels more like a TV theme than a pop song. It's like kind of a Alan Hawkshaw, kind of Ronnie Hazelhurst theme kind of thing. I'm getting a bit of grandstand alternate take at point. Floppy Boot Stomp, I wrote in that slightly annoying voice I want to write in, hey, it's the guy who sang Electricity. What's he doing here? He seems to have brought that song's unrestrained energy with him. Lopsided rock with nice sharp guitar outbursts presided over with manic glee. He knows this is good from the opening bars and he can't wait to share it.
No, Floppy Boot is I had as my top with Tropical Hot Dog, and I know it's obvious picks, but I had them as my top two. But I love them. I think that the hoedown kind of thing is unique in Don's catalog and is a really cool tune, really good tune. But the Ice Rose, the second section, is that Elephant Six thing. It's got the marimba, it's got the trumpet, and it's like that is almost a blueprint for that sound.
Totally.
Yeah.
I think this is a sort of possibly a good point to like bring up the subject of the sort of vibe of an album, and just going back to the fall, a tangentially related subject. I've always had like a feeling that the quality of like a fall album is really affected by the sort of general happiness and mood of the people at the time, and the mood on this album is like just so happy, you know.
Yeah.
And I think that's possibly why I like it so much. It's just you just feel the sort of happiness and the fun and the joy coming through in the music on so much of this album, and Floppy Boot Stomp I think is a great example of that.
I think so. And I think that is initially when I was like, this is a consolidation. This is just stuff they've sort of done before, slightly rehashed, was my original take on this album. But little by little, it was overturned by just the fact this is the joyous kind of, it's like a young band that get to play all the old songs, but kind of take them on and twist them and turn them around, turn them inside. Like so many of them do almost refer back to earlier tunes. And yeah, I think it's beautiful. And I think similar to something like Wonderful and Frightening, it's got this joyous Technicolor kind of feel to it, which is beautiful.
I'll agree, and I'll refer back to We Are the Champions, where it's like everybody who's shit out of their own instrument is just buzzing off everybody else, and they're just going, "Yay, let's go for it!"
Nice. So Floppy Boot Stomp versus Ice Rose, Alistair, where do you stand?
Floppy Boot song, I'd probably go a little bit. Well, no, love the song, but yeah, it's a song about farmers, and John Craven might be interested in it for Countryfile. Maybe he should do a little piece there, taking apart the lyrics and apparently it's real. It could be a good theme for farming today on Radio 4. You never know. But yeah, it's proper groovy farming music. I can't think of many other songs about farming unless we get into the Wurzels Oh, Deutschmark Bob did a song about having.
What about Ivor Cutler's "I'm Going to a Farm"?
Which one's
Oh,
that,
yeah.
Dan?
Ivor Cutler's "I'm Going to a Farm"
Oh,
to
God.
get weeds.
But yeah, it's the more Stevel song I know about something that's about farming. Brilliant, love it.
Sex Farm.
The band The Farm, not a big fan of, but
Well, you could do the Fool's Hard Life in the Country, which is like arguably anti-farmer.
Arguably, yes, the anti-floppy boot.
actually, I don't. Right, if we've got talking about my favourite song about farming, maybe "Sex Farm" by Spinal Tap.
Oh yeah, the thing that Dan
That's
just
a top
mentioned
there.
about 30 seconds ago. Come on, lad, get it together, pull it together. What about Ice Rose?
It sounds like something that someone might buy from a vape shop. Very Zappa-esque. But there's some great breaks in there, which are very nice. And the marimba and brass are excellent on it. Rate it very highly.
Nice, indeed. So I think it's come down. Max, do you ever be about to say something?
I've kind of already talked about these, but what Alistair just said about Zappa-esque reminded me about one of the great things about Ice Rose is that it's a vehicle for Don's saxophone playing.
Yeah.
And like reminds us all like what a fucking awesome saxophone player he is.
Yeah, it's beautiful stuff, and he doesn't get he doesn't pull his horn out quite enough.
That thing is, when you think about him, you think about the vocals and the general wizard like LSD kind of shaman sort of thing, but then you forget about like his incredible saxophone playing and his incredible harmonica playing, and possibly loads of other things as well. You know,
honking on its bobo.
Honking on that bobo. Yeah, one thing I've noticed is that I'm saying trumpet all over this album, and I'm sure it's a trumpet, but there's no trumpet listed in the.
I thought it was a trombone.
Okay, is it a trombone?
But it's got that. It's sliding all over the place.
That's Bruce Fowler all over it. So trombone and air bass, if you will. Take a vote. Which way are you going, Max?
what between Floppy Boot Stomp and Ice Rose?
Yes, indeed. Yeah.
It's a tough one. I'm gonna go Floppy Boot 2 and Ice Rose 3.
Oh, nice. Alistair, which way are you going?
These boots were made for walking.
Good. DB?
Yeah, Floppy Boot 3, Ice Rose 2. So the reverse of Max. We cancel each other out.
And I had Ice Rose down in fifth, and I had Floppy Boot as my top choice. So as much as I really love Floppy Boot Stomp, it's as much as Ice Rose I'd love to see go through, but unfortunately not. So the top four have gone through, and that leaves us with Ode to Alex, which Max had as top, and Dan had top, but me and Al had it down in seventh. It didn't appear in my top 10. Couldn't quite get my head around it. It was but anyway, yeah, let's play out to that. But Max, what's your thoughts on that one?
So Ode to Alex to me is a really, it's just always just grab me. It's got like a really weird, like disjointed, off the one kind of vibe. That sort of it starts off with a really interesting, weird, syncopated thing, and then sort of halfway through it turns into a sort of more conventional blues piece. I prefer the first half, before it transitions into the blues bit.
For me, it's got that sliding two notes. So I was joking about the Who earlier because it goes down, 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 and I can't get Barbara O'Reilly out of my head every time I hear it. But it's a more interesting take on that, of course. But I think I agree with you. It gets more conventional. Strangely enough, it gets more conventional as it goes on. The version on Bat Chain Puller is a little more raw, but a little less inventive in some ways, I think. DB, what do you stand on this one? You had it as your top.
an easy number one in the end for me. I'm going to read what I wrote. It said, the Beefer invents post-rock. That is, if you ignore all those classical composers, etc. It's a rich and dense song that slowly spirals uphill with agonized vocals on the edge of lunar madness, moving into wordless hexering. Does more with tension and release than an entire Fugazi album. The denouement with the layered guitars is the sound of music peaking. This, my friends and dear listeners, is fucking ace. Side note, I once made a dance remix of this and I wish I could find it because it's buried on a hard drive somewhere, but I actually DJ'd it. I basically just put a hi-hat pattern and a kick drum from an LCD sound system song, and it just works really great in the tempo because it's one of the few songs he's got in a constant tempo, even though it feels like it stretches and slows up. This is my favourite Captain Beefheart song, pending new development.
Ooh, la, la.
Wow, that's high praise. I would really love to hear that.
It's always Max. It's already set off ideas in your head, hasn't it?
See if I can find it.
Creating more Beefheart. Have you ever tried to remix a Beefheart track yourself, Max?
I like doing a mashup. I like a good mashup.
Yeah.
I would not do a mashup of Beefheart because I think that I would only make it worse.
You did a very nice fall and What Like an Egyptian.
Oh, that was
This for Lancashire, yeah.
The Lucifer over Lancashire Walk Like an Egyptian thing was a nice bit of fun. I can't imagine doing anything with Beefheart that wouldn't make it worse.
But did we talk about the Lucifer and the Bangles one when you were on last time, and the fact that Bricks is the connection between the two, and it was a similar time period, and it may not have been a coincidence.
I mean, who knows? I mean, only Bricks knows, I suppose. That is a really interesting question, but they are very similar tracks.
Yeah. All right, for another time. And so, Alistair, what's your take on Ode to Alex?
Some really nice spiky guitar in there with the bits that remind me a bit of like Big Eyed Beans from Venus or stuff from from Mirror Man. For the harping and the kind of like psyche feel. So there's some really nice big sounding like slide guitar going on in places as well. That's all the shit that ticks boxes for me. But Dan might not be as keen on because it might be too bluesy and white boy blues. I don't know. But yeah, I really like it. But there's other ones that I prefer more.
Indeed, but we may have a treat on the way out. DB.
Oh. Yeah, I think I found it.
I would love to hear this, but if you can't sort it out,
I'll boot it over to you. Yeah,
send it to Brendan, and he can add it in post, as they say.
I will add it in post to the audio version. The video version, you'll have to.
It's incredibly crude.
I really want to hear it.
I've just heard 3 seconds of it back to myself. It's incredibly crude, but I don't know. Hang on, I'll share at the bottom. It is a mashup of Ode to Alex and Decepticon. I think it gets a bit. I'll send you the whole thing for your delectation. Like I say,
that works well.
I think
it's a bit low in the mix, but bring beef up and stuff. So
it was made for kind of DJing at indie clubs.
Great stuff, though. Well, Max, thanks for joining us. I'm hoping the Alice debacle hasn't soured the relationship too much.
No, it's all right. We're still friends.
Good. All right. Well, that means Ode to Alex, Floppy Boot Stomp, Tropical Hot Dog Night, and Suction Prince have gone through to join the other in the second round bag. I'll play us out with Ode to Alex, and it's been a late one, but thank you, gentlemen. I'll see you two soon, and Max, hopefully I'll see you fairly soon as well.
Thanks everyone for accommodating my late night schedule.
Pleasure. No worries. Always a pleasure.
All the best, mate.
Always nice seeing Max.
Now tell me.
Coca-Cola adverts. Brilliant.
Fucking hate adverts. It's probably ruined the vibe if we just sing along with it.
I agree.
Right, it's like a seagull flight. Not two flamingos. Eagles.
Stupid heart, Cupid heart. Where will you go from here? Magnetic ring. Hear me howling, well, hell, sitting pretty. Tasting nitty gritty. Putting on into Carson City. Sparks tattoos.
That'll have to do. Take it easy. Yeah.
Right.